Hey, you're in Joel Martin's Grateful Zone. Hey everybody, how you doing? Today's a very special day here at Grateful Zone, and we have not only our first special guest, but it's also our first mobile session. So here we are in the forest, and Anna Elva has joined me, the incredibly phenomenal Anna Elva. Anna, thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
This is so groovy. We've never really actually talked too much socially. I've seen you play a couple times up here in the Bay Area, where you're on all the cool gigs, you're doing all the great stuff, you're playing with all the great people, and it's just so fun and phenomenal, the energy that you bring to the stage. It's just always great. A deep pocket, as we say in the music community. And so I think this is fun for me, because not only am I not really familiar with your background, but, everybody out here on the internet can know too. I wanted to start asking you kind of the three-headed question, but they might all have the one answer. They might all be related. But how did you first get into music? Like what made it happen, and how old were you when you knew you had to do this? How old were you, and what happened where you knew drumming was going to be your voice? And then how does that relate to the Grateful Dead?
All right, let's go. So I'm from the Bay Area, from Concord, East Bay, and both of my grandfathers were musicians. So we had like everything in the house. I have three older brothers also, so there was a lot of sort of musical stuff going on around the house. Like we had a drum set in the house, we had clarinet, we had trumpet, we had flute. My mom played piano, so she taught me piano at a pretty young age, like maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, something like that. And then my brother who's 4 years older than me was playing trumpet, so I wanted to play trumpet. I wanted to do what he did, so I played trumpet. And then it was the 90s, and Lisa Simpson was really popular, and Bill Clinton and stuff. So saxophone was really what, so I parlayed, and but I was sort of.
So you played saxophone too?
Yeah.
You still got some chops?
No. No. I don't. My saxophone is I think literally in pieces. But maybe not. So I started on clarinet, then moved to trumpet, and then eventually got a saxophone, and eventually I started playing drums. I mean, so as far as music, I think it was I never even really thought twice about it. Just sort of one thing led to another, one instrument led to another. There's always excitement to try a new instrument each time. But I started with drums when I was in 7th grade or 8th grade, maybe. I had some friends that were starting to play guitar at the time. I had a friend who came in and played in our 7th grade class. I don't know what the point was of him playing, but he came in and played guitar. And I remember watching and just being like, I want to play with him. Like, I want to play with that guy. I want to do it. And then and I had another friend that played drums, a boy that I wanted an excuse for him to come over and stuff. So I had drums in the house already, so I started drums probably 7th, 8th grade, and I had my saxophone teacher teach me a couple of grooves, over at the local music store. So yeah, but when I really started, when I knew it was drums was more so than all the wind instruments, was playing with other people. The guy that had my friend Bob, I actually played with him last Thursday. Also, I still play with him. the kid, yeah, the middle school kid. So he's my old homie. So when I started playing with him and a couple other friends, we were starting jamming, and I remember clearly we were playing a Paranoid Android. And I remember just I didn't know.
So
it.
just the easy stuff.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know the song actually, but he was playing the riff, and I was just and I remember for the first time I was able to just jam and play something that I didn't have a plan. I didn't really know what it was, and it was just wow, I can just play. He does something and I respond, and it goes for an unplanned amount of times, and it was this is it. And that was probably 8th grade, something like that. And then it was just, and again, one thing led to another. I joined a class where I started playing. It was a guitar class, and I was the drummer, so I started playing with with everyone. Yeah, exactly. So and then we had the part of the class was a weekly gig. so I mean, it was just like, we'd do these little 3-song sets, and I would just play with everybody. Some people would be doing, Santana. Some people would be doing Ramones. Some people would be doing Chuck Berry. Like, it was just, the Meters. Like, it was just like everything and that was when I was probably in 9th grade that I started doing that.
That's an incredible experience. I mean, that's good to get that varied thing happening.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, like, now with my students, it's like I don't even know how to like. I'm like, you got to find an opportunity to play with people, because like that's, for me, it was just that was it. Like, I spent kind of a embarrassingly little amount of time actually practicing, and a incredibly like rich and like large amount of time just playing songs, and so. Yeah, as far as the Grateful Dead, that was the other part, right?
Yeah,
that was music drumming.
Yeah.
The Grateful Dead, so my dad is a Deadhead, still is a Deadhead,
Cool.
And so I never listened to Dead because it was like,
oh, gotcha, okay.
It was that sort of thing where it's like, that's my dad's music, so I had no interest in it, like, at all, whatsoever. And then and eventually, I met the guy who ended up being my son's father, and and he was like, "Oh, your dad's a Deadhead," like, and I was like, "Yes, whatever, I don't want to." And he's like, "Have you ever actually listened?" I'm like, "No." No, I've never actually listened to it. That's my dad's music.
Old people music.
Yeah, in my head, everything sort of sounded like some kind of like a sort of like U.S. blues, but like cheesier. Was kind of like what it all sounded like in my head, Yeah, and so my boyfriend at the time, he knew I was really into New Orleans music. I had been into like the Meters and Dr. John and like classic, whatever, Fats Domino and all that stuff. And I was really in Motown and soul. I've been doing that band for a while, and so he, being actually incredibly wise, showed me JGB first.
Wow.
So he started showing me like some live JGB, and I was like, okay, this is cool. And then he showed me. And actually at the time Further was a band, so he took me to see Further, and like from the moment I walked in, it was a Bill Graham, it was New Year's, I think 2008 to 2009, something like that, and like, we were a little bit late, so it wasn't what they opened with, but the first song I saw was Loose Lucy, and so they launched into it with the organ just like wailing, and the whole arena and everyone and I was like, what? And I was like, the energy, the like everything got me. And so like I had never seen people dancing like I'd been in like the rave scene a little bit, like, but I've never been in like the jam band scene until then. So yeah, that was, and then it was just one thing led to another.
Wow.
Here we are.
That's so cool. You still really into the New Orleans stuff? Like, I'm spacing on his name, Vladkovich?
Oh, Johnny Vodakovich.
Yeah,
Johnny Vodakovich and Stanton Moore. I mean, that was another.
Great.
Yeah, Stanton. I just saw him I haven't seen him in a while, but I just went to Galactic at the Fillmore a couple weeks ago.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I love like the Motown soul R&B, and then which really parlays into the New Orleans stuff. I mean, that's like, yeah, I love it.
I saw Stanton with Les Claypool last summer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was such a treat. I mean, it was so groovy.
I love Stan Moore. It's one of my, and then of course, when I saw Further, that was Russo, and so like Russo, just like I just gravitated towards everything
for sure
that he did as soon as I found out who he was.
Yeah, they got me on the bus real hard.
Right. Yeah, so I'm not really like it's like I never saw Jerry. The first, like I said, the first show I went to was 2008, 2009, whenever that was. So.
Cool. That's about when I got on the bus too, because I always had Jerry and the Dead in my life, but I thought they were kind of like, like you would be a fan of them like everybody else is a fan of other bands. Like you go and you enjoy the music or whatever. I didn't know it was more, it took me a little while to get the whole lifestyle thing. And then once I got into Jerry as a pedal steel player, then I started to go to the Dead events. And then it was just like, oh, this is my home. This is amazing. So, yeah. And now, I mean, you're playing with so many bands here in the Bay Area. What are your favorite things to play in, and your favorite people to work with?
Oh man, there's so many of them. Yes, it was cool because when Terrapin was open, I was like a wannabe. I would go there and I'd talk to all the drummers. Like I talked to, especially Ezra and Pete Lavazoli. I would like really email them. What are you doing? And like really and so like try to learn a lot from them. And so now it's cool because I get to play with all the guys that I saw them play.
Ah, that's so cool.
So yeah, I mean Mark Carrot, I've been playing with him. Recently the last couple, maybe not 2 years, the last year and a half, something like that. And so he always brings in, him and Scott Guberman. I've been able to play with him a bunch.
You're at Ashkenaz like all the time.
I love Ashkenaz. Yeah, Ashkenaz has been great. Between the two nights of Matt Hartle's nights there and Grateful Sunday down in Felton, I think he
That's
came to
where
one
I
of
saw
those.
you.
Yeah, those two scenes, the Ashkenaz scene and the Grateful Sunday scene, are like, they're really really special.
Oh, that's so great.
Smoke Daddy has been fun. I've been getting to do that with Byron Ryans and Mike Maher. Mike was the first person. I don't know if you know Mike Maher, bass player, but he was one of the first people I met in the whole scene. So I always love anything I do with Mike.
Oh, wow.
Mike's one of my favorites, and yeah, Matt Hartle and Jordan on keys with Smoke Daddies and Byron's. Yeah, Jordan Byron, and Mike doing Smoke Daddies has been just, we have like a monthly at Tupelo, and I started playing with them I think early in the pandemic, so that's a special band.
And then you're doing the China Dolls.
Yes, China Dolls is another special one. China Dolls is, which actually was a product of Ashkenaz basically, because they wanted to put together something for the for Women's History Month in 2023, and so we did the second annual one this year, and that was kind of that was sort of the what made it, and then now we have some other things outside of Ashkenaz too.
Cool. So what is your go-to favorite Grateful Dead stuff now?
What, to go see or to go play?
Or to listen to. Like you got some private time, you're alone for a minute in the car, a little road trip maybe. What do you fire up?
I mean, if usually what's on the set list.
Oh yeah.
Usually, like, I mean, I have like, every time there's a gig, I have a set list. I have the Spotify list. But yeah, it's different. If I'm driving, I can't do a video, but because I like watching. Sometimes with, I listen to a lot of Fish too, and like, but when I'm driving, I have to actually listen to it. It's generally whatever the last show and whatever's coming up. Coming up next.
I feel you on that. It's like it's fun, but it's all kind of research too.
It's got to be. Yeah, I mean, because I have to there's so many different versions and tempos, especially in feels, and sometimes I'll put on like a Dead and Company version. Sometimes because that's a lot of what the arrangements people do now, or But then my favorite era is like 72 or 77, 74. So like 70s, various 70s eras. So. Yeah.
I definitely gravitate towards the one drummer period.
Yeah, but then it's but like a lot of the people I play with too just went to more shows in the 80s, so like the 80s vibe comes through with a lot. So I feel like I got to give the 80s and 90s their due diligence.
Yeah. Well, let's do some playing. I mean, we're here in the forest. Let's do some playing. Okay, we're here with Anna Elva, and we're going to play Tore Up Over You. Great song written by Hank Ballard, who was in the Midnights in the 50s, one of the early rock and roll pioneers. He actually wrote the twist and recorded the twist originally before Chubby Checker did it and had the hit with it, so he's into it. And Jerry started playing this song, I think around late 74, 75 with Legions of Mary, and then recorded it for his third solo record, Reflections. And that was kind of interesting because he started with King Tut, Ron Tut on the drums, and he had that version of his band playing, but then he decided to switch it completely and have the Grateful Dead play the rest of the sessions. So, and that's where a lot of the studio versions for some of the great songs like They Love Each Other come from, and Must Have Been the Roses. That's all that stuff, so good stuff to check out. So we're going to do Tore Up Over You. Tore out in the forest? Thanks.